things must undergo the formality of actually occurring. Whitehead's phrase. Things must undergo the formality of actually occurring. So out of these many possible developmental creodes, a path will be chosen. This is called now in physics a symmetry break. And in theory, these symmetry breaks are not determined. They could occur anywhere. Now what I mean by that is a common one is, and don't hold me to the numbers, but I believe the electron is 1,860 times heavier than the proton. No theory can account for this. There is nothing apparently magical about this being 1,800 so forth times heavier than the proton. So it's called a symmetry break. In the original mix of possibilities, the universe just developed. Symmetry, as in tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forest of the night. What immortal hand or eye can frame thy fearful symmetry? That kind of symmetry, or symmetry, as we from the cattle towns of western Colorado say.
How does Darwin fit into this as far as the theories of evolution? I mean, are you basically implying that an accidental, chaotic dance is going on in regards to how life is unfolding? There is no rhythm, there is no reason, there is no rhyme to the unfoldment of evolution as we know it?
Well, certainly that was Darwin's idea. It's not necessarily mine. See, since the 19th century to the 20th century, the word chaos has actually changed. In the 19th century, chaos meant disorder. And in a sense, you could almost say that Darwin was the first chaos theorist, because they discovered, the people, Darwin and his school, that you could take two processes which are both random, and that by running these two random processes together, you could attain striking examples of order and symmetry and beauty. And to them, this proved that God is not necessary. They said, look, no God, nothing, no God up the sleeve. Just here is random mutation. No mystery here. Here is natural selection. No mystery here. I shuffle the deck together, and here I get peacocks, harlequin beetles, gray whales, and human beings. And no God necessary. But and we've talked about this a lot, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. What they were obsessed by in the 19th century was the elimination of purpose, which goes to your question. They were totally against the idea that there is a plan, God's plan, because they were very concerned to continue the tradition of free will that they inherited from French rationalism, and they felt they were holding the line against the Church of England. In a way, this brings me to what I wanted to talk about today, which was, there are many paths into this, but about the paradigm shift. And we've talked now for a few minutes about natural law versus the idea that the universe is some kind of evolving organism. And I want to talk about two opposed sets of terms. The old paradigm and what it implied and how it worked, and the new paradigm and how it's different and what it implies and how it works. Because I think we're getting close to pay dirt on this great change of consciousness thing that everybody is waiting to have happen, that enough data is accumulating, enough global web weaving is happening, that we're close to criticality on having the new paradigm emerge. Perhaps Prigozhin's little announcement is the beginning of that. But here are the terms. First of all, old paradigm, freedom and law. This is what it's about. Freedom and law, this great opposing and dichotomous set of concepts. First, the laws of nature, eternal, Platonic, suspended in some philosophical superspace, beyond argument, beyond contradiction. And then the mystery of freedom, that man is free and therefore responsible and therefore somehow bears a measure of guilt for the historical predicament. So human freedom is the precondition for the assumption of man's flaw, man's fall. You know, what Thomas Aquinas called the felix culpa, the happy flaw. And these ideas of law and freedom have been worked out since the late 17th century, when, after the Cromwellian Revolution was disposed of, and Newton published the Principia in England, people like John Locke and Hume and Thomas Hobbes and began to work out the social implications of all this, while Newton and Leibniz and other people on the continent, Fibonacci and so forth, worked out the implications of the law part of it and created science as we know it, practice it, love it, hate it today. Okay, now the new paradigm and the meaning, I guess we should talk for a minute about what a paradigm is. A paradigm is a lens through which you see the world, and everything is transformed when you look through this lens. How your food, your religion, your sexuality, your science, your economics, everything is transformed. And for 500 years, let's say, we have looked at the world through the lens of freedom and law. And our whole social dialogue has been, how can we have as much freedom as possible, and law, and what is law, and what is freedom, and this is what the dialogue has been about since the Renaissance. Habit and novelty are the new, or what I would propose as the two concepts that are rising out of a synthesis of 20th century experience as the new defining terms of a universal paradigm. And first I want to talk about habit, because I've already sort of anticipated that by talking about Sheldrake and Prigozhin, saying, you see, if you are, and believe me, it's not easy for me to give up my Platonism. I mean, I am to this day highly Platonic, but I don't think we can just be Platonists. There's been some developments since 530 BC. Take a look at Alfred North Whitehead. The problem is the eternality of the ideas and their the supraordinary ontos of their existence, as a philosopher would say. In other words, that they are nowhere to be found in what we call the world. They are like with God, or